distinguished speakers and delegates, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me also add my voice to all the others in welcoming you today for this 8th edition of Delhi Dialogue. We meet at a time when India is currently undergoing an economic and social transformation on a scale and a speed which is quite unmatched in history. We have undertaken a number of steps to improve the business climate, which has resulted in FDI flows going up by 40%. And India has also become the world's 7th most valued nation brand with a 32% sprint in brand value. We have improved our UNCTAD ranking of investment attractiveness from 15th to the 9th place. And Moody's has also upgraded our rating now as positive. We've started liberalizing the FDI regime along with other reforms. And we allowed 100% FDI in railways and enhanced the FDI limit to 49% in defense and insurance. We are also actively addressing the last mile operational issues in such policies. At the same time, with the formal establishment of the ASEAN Economic Community in December 2015, ASEAN is forging ahead as a community by deepening its economic integration. Collectively, the 3rd largest economy in Asia and the 7th in the world, the ASEAN Economic Community offers many prospects and opportunities for India, including a middle income market of 622 million people. It will further enable our businesses to jointly explore opportunities in the wider Southeast Asian region. ASEAN is India's 4th largest trading partner. Bilateral trade between us has crossed 76.5 billion US dollars in 2014-15, our financial year. And amongst the ASEAN member states, Indonesia is the largest trading partner of India, with a trade of about $20 billion in 2014-15, followed by Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, etc. And Singapore leads amongst the ASEAN countries in our inward investments, emerging as the 2nd largest source of foreign direct investment for India globally, with inflows amounting to $38.8 billion till September 2015, which is 14.6% of our total FDI inflow. And this, of course, is followed by Malaysia at $7.6 billion, Indonesia at $6.2 billion, etc. And in turn, Singapore is a huge recipient also for Indian investment, with outflows from India amounting to $37.8 billion. Enhancing our trade is a priority area under the new plan of action to implement the ASEAN-India Partnership for Peace, Progress and Shared Prosperity. That's for the period of 2016 to 2020. This plan of action envisages a number of steps in the areas of trade and investment, finance, transport, food, agriculture, forestry, information and communication technology, tourism, science, technology and innovation, and mining and natural resources management. In the past year, a significant achievement has been the completion of the ASEAN-India Free Trade Area, with the entry into force of the ASEAN-India Agreements on Trade in Services and Investment on 1 July 2015. So far, India, Brunei Darussalam, Malaysia, Myanmar, Singapore, Vietnam, and Thailand have ratified the agreements. Lao PDR has ratified the agreement on trade in services. So we request you to use your good offices to encourage the remaining ASEAN countries to ratify the agreement at an early date. Furthermore, the ASEAN-India Trade Negotiating Committee has been tasked to undertake a review of the ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement, which came into effect on 1 January 2010. The review will help optimize its utilization and bring it up to date with today's standards. Negotiations on the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership have moved satisfactorily, with modalities being agreed in August 2015. In the technical negotiations which are underway, if they are completed swiftly, RCEP may turn into a dynamic reality very soon, particularly if we simultaneously succeed in forming regional value chains and production networks. With the TPP becoming a reality, expediting RCEP is in our interest. Confronted with global economic slowdown, we need to develop our common value chains and production networks. To encourage this in CLMV countries, which comprise a special category within the ASEAN, our Prime Minister had announced a project development fund for developing manufacturing hubs in CLMV countries. In order to fully utilize the potential offered by the ASEAN-India Free Trade Area, we can focus on building complementarities which can generate the necessary goodwill and trust. So we need to undertake capacity building programs, workshops and seminars that focus on the ASEAN-India FTA, rules of origin, services liberalization, regulatory aspects of e-commerce, elimination of non-tariff barriers, competition policy and intellectual property rights, SMEs cooperation and promotion. And I trust that today's discussions will throw up some practical recommendations in this regard. Our government is keen to facilitate cross-border trade between our northeastern states and the neighboring ASEAN countries by setting up more border trade points, and under the MOU on border hearts, as we call it, along the India-Myanmar border, signed in 2012, it has been agreed to set up 9 such markets in the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram. We have 2 land custom stations at Tamu More in Manipur and Zokhatar in Mizoram, and the land custom station at More is being updated now into an integrated checkpost. Our efforts at promoting cross-border trade at the micro level needs to be supplemented at the macro level by enhancing physical connectivity. We have announced a line of credit of $1 billion to promote projects that support physical and digital connectivity between India and ASEAN. Along with the construction of the India-Myanmar-Thailand trilateral highway and the Kaladan multimodal project, we are also at the final stages of a motor vehicles agreement between India, Myanmar and Thailand, which will address soft connectivity issues. Science and technology is an important component of our cooperation. We have enhanced the ASEAN-India Science and Technology Fund from $1 million to $5 million with effect from this year, which will go towards setting up of an ASEAN-India innovation platform to facilitate commercialization of low-cost technologies and collaborative R&D projects. We need to collaborate in the development of infrastructure and sustainable energy by promoting private sector cooperation in the development and utilization of renewable and alternate energy sources, clean energy technologies, and energy efficient technologies through institutional capacity building, the facilitation of trade and investment in the energy sector, and liberalization of power trade amongst ASEAN member states and India. I welcome ideas and suggestions in this regard, and we would definitely be looking at that with great interest. We have a session on the Startup India, Stand Up India initiative. We have announced a 19-point action plan in January this year for setting up of startups which would work towards innovation, development, deployment of commercialization of new products, processes or services that are driven by technology or intellectual property. And I hope this session will come up with the broad contours of an ASEAN-India ecosystem to facilitate the convergence of technology, integration across diverse fields, distributed architecture, and people willing to back an idea. So I'm confident that today's business session will provide an insight into the changes that are currently taking place in India on the investment and economic front, as well as into the potential which India holds for greater engagement with ASEAN, in fact all the ASEAN member states. Let us use this opportunity to collectively shape our post-2015 agenda for greater progress and prosperity of our people. Thank you very much for your attention.